This report is brought to you by Cerule, makers of a new category of plant-based products scientifically proven to naturally increase the number of adult stem cells in circulation. This offers a variety of benefits to reduce the effects of human aging. I have a nagging tennis injury, a rotator cuff shoulder problem. Surgery is pretty iffy, so I've been a long-time user of glucosamine products. They don't help much, but that has been my only alternative. So I gave it a try. The rep told me that it would usually take several months before any noticeable difference would occur. First week, nothing. Second week, maybe a little better. But then by the third week, all of a sudden I realized it was a lot better. All I can say is Stem Enhance has worked for us, and non-invasively. Yes, I could have paid $5,000 to have a stem cell injection into my shoulder, but it wears off. Why not stimulate the body's natural ability to generate the stem cells itself, which then travel naturally wherever they are needed for a fraction of the cost? One visit to a doctor can cost more than a month's supply of this product. There's a lot of science behind this. I wouldn't be advertising it otherwise. This works. Check out their website at billstill.cerule.com. There's also a 30-day money-back guarantee on a single bottle purchase, so you can try it risk-free.
Good morning. I'm still reporting on the coup. The latest candidate to join the field for the Speaker of the House seat is probably the biggest rhino to apply so far, the current number 3 Republican in the House, Tom Emmer of Minnesota. Kevin McCarthy immediately endorsed Emmer for Speaker on Friday afternoon, just hours after the ink had dried on Jim Jordan's withdrawal from the race. Despite a field of 5 other Republicans who have announced their candidacy for their party's nod, Emmer is said to be the front-runner. But guess what? Emmer is probably the foremost opponent of the Electoral College and in fact was a paid spokesman for the George Soros-funded National Popular Vote Initiative, which is the group driving the elimination of the Electoral College. Why? Because the Electoral College would override a popular vote in a state, for example, if election fraud was suspected. The Founding Fathers were well aware of the ability of big money to buy off enough influencers of that day to swing an election to a candidate as crooked as our current resident. They feared what they called the tyranny of the majority. The people are uninformed and would be misled by a few designing men. Delegate Eldridge Gerry, July 19, 1787. So that's why the founders created the Electoral College system in a way that insulated the selection of the president from the whims of a poorly informed or even a deceived public. So they designed a system under the Constitution that made the highest-ranking U.S. officials elected by direct popular vote of the people to be the governors of the states. The Electoral College system helps give the more rural states with lower populations, generally farm country, a more equal voice in the presidential election. In their wisdom, they foresaw that if popular vote alone decided elections, the presidential candidates would rarely, if ever, visit the small states or care about their wishes. They would confine themselves to visiting the most densely populated states time and time again. A full 50% of the states would have little say or attention. Therefore, candidates are forced to get votes from both the large states and the small rural states. That helps ensure that the president will consider the needs of every state. This was in accord with the basic founding principle of the United States Constitution, the separation of powers concept, where power is spread out to the maximum extent which is practical. That's why the central government is divided into 3 branches: the executive branch, the legislative branch, and the judicial branch. This separation of powers principle is why a constitutional convention in this day and age is such a horrible idea, because way too much power would be concentrated in an unprecedentedly small number of hands. making it just as susceptible to vote buying as today's Congress is, even more. In fact, some people see that the members of Congress would appoint themselves as the delegates to the convention. We saw the results of that with the activities of last week's continuous declining votes for unquestionably the House's most popular member, Jim Jordan. For the first time in my lifetime, we even knew the exact bar on Pennsylvania Avenue where that critical anti-Jordan vote buying occurred. This just in. President Trump says he will not support House Whip Tom Emmer's bid for Speaker. Why? Because Emmer is a supporter of the National Popular Vote campaign, which is sponsored by George Soros, which would either kill or drastically modify the Electoral College in a way that would favor the big leftist states and diminish the power of the less populated farming states, which typically vote for Republicans. Beth and I are trying to rebuild this channel, but we can't do it without you. If you value this type of historical analysis with just a touch of humor, please subscribe to this channel and share it around with your friends. And if you can't afford to donate, I hate to say it, but we really need people to step up right now with a recurrent amount so that we don't have to go arm twisting every month. You can find us on PayPal at stillreport@gmail.com, Patreon at the following link, or Subscribestar at stillreport. We are still reporting from just outside the citadel of world freedom. Good day.